Hill. So what do we know right now, Genevieve?
Well, Deb, this tragic breaking news has the people who live here holding back tears. According to police, 31-year-old mom Ashley Palmer and her two young kids, who were just 6 and 8 years old, are now dead. What was originally a death investigation is now considered a murder-suicide. Police say that 31-year-old mom shot and killed her two young kids before taking her own life. It all played out in the C building of this brand new Gresham apartment complex. Deb and Wright, we do know that police were originally called here yesterday, earlier in the morning, for a welfare check during that death investigation, discovering those three bodies.
I don't really want to be here anymore.
Adrienne Collins recently moved into the new Rockwood Apartments in Gresham.
I almost start crying because I'm like, wow, how can that happen?
She just learned the incident apartment management posted about on entryway doors is actually being investigated as a murder-suicide. Gresham police first came here Tuesday morning for a welfare check, then discovering the bodies. Wednesday afternoon, following the autopsies, the death investigation escalated to a murder-suicide. Police say 31-year-old mom Ashley Palmer shot and killed her two kids, just 6 and 8 years old, before taking her own life. The tragedy unfolding in Building C, but impacting neighbors across the complex.
I don't know why somebody would. Sorry, but
It's a heartbreaking situation. It really is. I mean, I can see it bringing tears to your eyes.
It is, because I do. Like I said, I have 3 girls, and I was just looking at their pictures because we're still unpacking, and I was unpacking there when they were little, and when you said how old they were, I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't.
Now, I did just get some new information from police. I asked what prompted the initial welfare call. Police tell me there were calls from family, both local and out of the area, with concerns. Live here in Gresham, Genevieve Reaume, K2 News.
Genevieve, Lincoln High School actually has the same suggestion?
Yeah, I just checked the updated numbers, and Lincoln currently has 54 students in isolation due to COVID. That is the most of any school in the Portland Public District. Lincoln High School sent a letter home to families strongly urging that this community wear masks. The county is now doing the same. The COVID's 7th wave is rolling in. Omicron 2.0 case counts are still far from the original Omicron levels, but a rise in illness prompted a public health response. Multnomah County is now strongly recommending people mask up indoors.
Do you foresee this becoming a mandate at any point?
I honestly don't.
Dr. Jennifer Vines, the county's health officer, says this is simply a public health message to alert people of the virus's presence in the community and telling them what they can do to lower their risk. A mask mandate, she says, would only be needed if the situation greatly escalated.
That would be a change, like a virus that completely gets around our vaccines, or, for example, one that causes much more severe disease than the Omicron and its sort of family of viruses. So those sort of catastrophic changes in the virus would be reasons to consider public health mandates. This is nowhere near that kind of scenario.
This 7th wave is not as serious, but the virus is still circulating, and even a mild case can sideline you from something special.
Just offering some medical public health advice for people to lower their risk of illness and having to miss out on something that they really want to be at.
Those events you may really want to be a part of, think prom or a wedding celebration. Masking is just one thing you can do to try and stay healthy so you don't get sick and you don't miss out on those important moments. Live here in Southwest Portland, Genevieve Reaume, K2.
Genevieve, many of the tests the Biden administration sent out are now expiring.
Yeah, and this is important to know because Omicron 2.0 is circulating throughout this community. And with it expected to peak in a matter of weeks, these tests are going to be very useful for a lot of people. This is one of those tests that I got from the Biden administration. And if you look on the back, it says it's set to expire on June 23rd, but that's not totally true. When you open the fridge to look for a snack, you probably check the expiration dates. You may also be surprised to learn that beauty products have a best buy. But did you know that COVID tests have a shelf life too? This Buy Nax Now box says the COVID shelf test expired April 30th. But don't trash it. It's actually good until the end of July, potentially longer. In order to get these tests onto shelves quickly, product makers had to strike a deal.
The special arrangement they made with the FDA for at least some of these brands is that they would put what's considered sort of a tentative expiration date or actually some of them have no expiration date.
Dr. Ann Loeffler, the deputy health officer for Multnomah County, says companies continue to test the efficacy of the products in the lab.
And they're saying, yep, they still work, they still work, they still work.
As time passes, they see the initial shelf life was too short.
To know that a test could be sitting on your shelf for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and still be effective. But if the companies had waited that long to test their kits, they wouldn't have been able to get them to market in time.
To track your test expiration, the FDA put a list of updated best buy dates you can check online.
I don't think there's going to be any significant expiration date.
Dr. Loeffler says it's likely the expirations will continue to get pushed back.
This test that I got in the mail, so it says use by June 23rd, 2022, and I go online and then that extends it another 3 months. So is it possible that 3 months will just keep getting extended if the tests still work in the labs?
Exactly. That's in fact what we expect to happen.
So the key here is do not throw away a test simply because the box says it's expired. Expiration dates will likely continue to change. We do have a link for that FDA list so you can check your own test. It is on K2.com right now. Live here in Southwest Portland, Genevieve Reaume, K2 News.
All right, Genevieve, thank you very much.
And with K2's Genevieve Reaume live in Northeast Portland. Genevieve, this is all having an impact right here locally.
Yeah, right. From food banks to stores like Fred Meyer, it is a struggle to get your hands on baby formula right now. Fred Meyer is actually limiting how much formula customers can buy. Target is doing the same. This as families across our area struggle to stock up on something so crucial for their children.
Babies can't wait a day to eat.
Infant formula is a necessity for so many families. The nutrients supporting a baby's development.
For kids, it can really impact their growth, especially their brain health. In the first year of life, it's so important.
Kirsten Wageman is the executive director of Snowcap Community Charities, which operates a food pantry. Between inflation and supply chain issues, this formula shortage another hit for low-income families.
Then to come to an agency like Snowcap in need of formula when we don't have it on the shelves is just very difficult.
The need for Snowcap's resources continues to grow.
In the last 2 months, each month we've been serving 2,000 more people each month than last year.
The community-funded organization is hoping for help stocking its shelves so they look less like those inside a grocery store, nearly empty. Coming up at 5 o'clock, there are a lot of pictures circulating the internet of empty store shelves where formula should be. So I went to 5 local stores to see what the situation is like here in the Portland area. I'll let you know where you can find baby formula coming up in an hour. For an hour live in Northwest Portland, Genevieve Reaume, K2.
And Genevieve, you actually went into several local stores to see what the stock looked like. What did you find?
Well, Deb, I did find formula, but the supply differs greatly depending on where you shop. And in some cases, you'll be limited as to how much you can buy, like here at Fred Meyer. The store is putting a cap on purchases. Historic inflation, supply chain challenges, and a massive recall. A formula for disaster. Food pantries.
We're just looking to source it.
And hospitals feeling the strain. Are you feeling the impacts of this baby formula shortage?
We are feeling the impacts of the baby formula shortage.
Nicole Bishop Purdue is the medical director of the Mother Baby Clinic at Providence St. Vincent, where not all are able to exclusively breastfeed. There, formula is key, especially for babies with more advanced feeding challenges needing specialized products.
So you're also having trouble finding those as well?
Yeah, yes, because again, they're an even more specialized thing than regular formulas.
We know you hear the challenge, but we also wanted you to see it. Okay, so there are a lot of photos out there of empty shelves, and I wanted to see, what does it look like locally?
Well, first stop is Market of Choice, and the shelves are pretty much full.
And that would be the last time I saw product so plentiful.
All right, so the shelves here at Rite Aid definitely showcase the problem. Time to check the shelves at Safeway.
Several empty slots and letters explaining the recall. Inside Fred Meyer, something different.
This is the first store I've seen doing this.
Fred Meyer is actually limiting how much baby formula you can buy.
Store number 5. Target.
What we'd spot here, an entire shelf, empty, and another cap on purchases.
So Genevieve, of course, the empty shelves, really frustrating for parents, but there's another concern, and that's price gouging. Governor Brown is trying to put a stop to that.
Yeah, Deb, just today the governor issued a proclamation declaring an abnormal market disruption. Now, what that means, it empowers the state's attorney general and Department of Justice to look into any reported price gouging and reprimand businesses if necessary. If you see any price gouging, make sure you report it. We have a link for you to do that right now on K2.com. Live here in Northwest Portland, Genevieve Reaume, K2 News.
Genevieve, thank you.
So just want to confirm that the bill now is going from 145 to 125.
$20 off a month with just a simple phone call. We know so many of you are feeling the impacts of inflation, so we're on your side helping you haggle down your bills.
K2's Genevieve Reaume joins us now. Genevieve launches a brand new series you're leading to show us how to save some money.
Exactly. It is all a series about how people can cut back on costs. It's as simple as that. Today we tackle those monthly bills. Think your cell phone, car insurance, cable. That clip you just saw was my phone bill. I was able to cut off $20 a month after talking on the phone with a Verizon agent for only about 15 minutes.
Okay, so you did this at 6 o'clock. You're going to tell us about how you did this with Verizon and a few other companies. Can you give us a breakdown on how much you saved?
Well, in a nutshell, I was able to save about 10% on those 3 bills. So that basically makes up for the cost of inflation if you think about it. So there are some really simple things you can do to try and combat these costs that we're seeing that just keep rising. So I'll have that all for you in an hour.
Looking forward to it.
Can you make some calls for me?
We're going to charge you 10% to do it.
Genevieve, thank you.
She joins us in the studio, and your first task was to find ways people could save money on their monthly bills.
Exactly, Deb, because every dollar counts, especially right now. So I wanted to see what moves I could make to lower some of my own bills. All it took was a little persistence and talking with actual people. This $100 bill isn't worth what it used to be, not even a year ago. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a Benjamin in March 2021 has the same buying power as nearly $109 in March 2022. So let's make your money go further. I started with my Verizon cell phone bill, $145 a month. Steep. Your first barrier will likely be the bots, those automated responses.
Hi, Genevieve. Thanks for calling Verizon Wireless.
But hang on for an actual human. And now we're on hold. I spent about 15 minutes on hold, then got straight to the point. Yeah, I was trying to see if there's a way I could lower my bill. Verizon's first suggestion was to sign up for autopay to save $10 a month. I'm positive it's on, but I will double check for you. I knew I'd already enrolled in this option. So I pulled up my account online and realized it wasn't being honored. From my calculations, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 5 months of autopay payback that I should be getting. In just 4 minutes, not only did I knock $10 off my monthly bill, but I also got a $50 credit. The 2 keys, people and persistence. I kept going, bringing up what I was paying previously with a different carrier. Is there a way to get this number closer to what I was paying for Xfinity? Is there something else that I can do? Verizon offered me a lower insurance option, another $10 off. So just want to confirm that the bill now is going from 145 to 125. In 15 minutes, I saved myself almost 15%. Slogans sound familiar? Honestly, I'm feeling so motivated by the fact that I just was able to save $20 on my Verizon bill that I figure I should try Geico.
Thank you for calling Geico.
A simple call, and I was offered nearly $30 off my 6-month car insurance plan if I signed up for Drive Easy, where Geico tracks my driving habits through my cell phone. The 2 Ps also paying off for pet insurance.
Hello, you've reached Trupanion.
Another 5 slashed within minutes. I actually don't think we need that. Axing a resource we weren't using. Awesome, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Just these 3 calls gave me the option to save $30 a month or more than $300 a year. A simple ask can go a long way, and you can do this repeatedly with almost all of your providers. Think cable and internet. Those last 2 calls with Geico and Trupanion were only about 10 minutes each. So Deb and Steve, the takeaway, get to a person and be persistent.
Okay, but what if you're not getting any wiggle on a price reduction? What do you do then?
Well, that can definitely happen. What you should do is you should ask to speak with a supervisor or a retention specialist if they have one. You can also try and get more for what you're already paying. Many companies include a free limited subscription to something like Hulu or Disney Plus. Ask to extend that free period. If you're paying separately for those streaming services, this eliminates that bill as well. Another money-saving move is to recycle your old tech. Apple has a program, so does Verizon. There's also a company called Gazelle that does this. All you'd have to do is return or recycle your old tech. So for example, if I were to turn in my old iPhone 10, I would get about $170 in Apple credit from the Apple program. So you can recycle non-Apple products too if you use other things like Androids. Deb, Steve.
This is K2 News at 6 on your side.
I knew they would cause an issue.
Then why didn't you act urgently?
I just didn't. I don't have any other reason but just to say that I didn't.
Clackamas County Clerk Sherry Hall admitting she didn't act quickly enough to fix major elections issue that is still unraveling tonight. Thanks a lot for joining us for K2 News at 6, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. The county knew about the issue, blurry barcodes on the ballots for nearly 2 weeks before Election Day. K2's Genevieve Reaume is live outside county's elections office. So Genevieve, this isn't the first time Clerk Hall has come under fire.
And no, it's not, Deb. Sherry Hall has been the Clackamas County clerk for nearly 2 decades, and this is just the latest elections debacle under her watch. Sherry Hall has been the Clackamas County clerk since 2003. This is not the first time she's come under fire for election errors. In 2010, under Hall, a race was incorrectly put on a primary ballot that was not set to be voted on until November. The error costing $120,000 because all ballots had to be reprinted.
I apologize to my family and my friends, and my community.
Then 2 years later, this volunteer elections worker was indicted by a grand jury on charges of ballot tampering. The woman then saying she had mental health concerns and didn't know what she was doing.
When the coworker pulled the paper from my hand, that's when I realized.
This incident prompting voters to call for her removal.
If she's unwilling to resign, then we are prepared to proceed with the recall.
The latest issue revolves around a printing problem, ballots sent to voters with blurry barcodes. Hall knew about the problem nearly 2 weeks before Election Day, now admitting she didn't act quickly enough.
I didn't respond to this with the urgency that I should have, and I realized that.
Now, Clerk Hall says people will be working through the weekend to address this latest issue. She also says that she's worked with this printing company for about a decade, but does not intend to do business with them anymore. She says all the ballots will be tallied by the state's June 13th deadline. Steve?
And Genevieve, there's another huge issue shadowing the elections office that just emerged here.
Yeah, and it's all in relation to one of those races that is yet to be determined because of those blurry ballots. It's between Representative Kurt Schrader and Jamie McLeod Skinner, and it's all about who was let inside this elections office and if it was too early. In a formal complaint, Jamie McLeod Skinner's team says their observer tried to get into the Clackamas County Elections building shortly after 8 Thursday morning, but no one answered the bell. The observer was only allowed in at 8:30 when the doors unlocked. When inside, the complaint says McLeod Skinner's opponent, Representative Kurt Schrader's observer, was already in place, adding the sign-in sheet says Schrader's observer got in at 7:30, an hour before the office officially opened, and McLeod Skinner's observer got through the doors.
I don't know how someone got in at 7.
County Clerk Sherry Hall says she doesn't know how someone would have gotten in before 8:30, as that's when their office opens.
It's possible that someone used their badge to get in and someone else might have followed them in.
But Representative Kurt Schrader's team says they were allowed to go in at 7:30, as just 2 days ago, County Chair Tootie Smith said extra workers would be in early to sort out the ballot mishap.
Those employees will work 2 shifts starting tomorrow, 7 to 6 every day until the vote is completed.
Tootie Smith then encouraged people to come and watch the process. And here's the kicker in all of this. Representative Schrader's team tells me that they learned today that the observer who was led into this building at 7:30, well, they say that it was Chair Hall who opened that door with her badge and that observer followed. We have put in a public records request for any video that may have caught this moment. We'll, of course, let you know when we get our hands on that. For now, we're live here in Clackamas County. Genevieve Reaume, K2 News.
Genevieve, thank you.
Today brings a big deadline for Clackamas County. The county clerk is expected to deliver a timeline to the Secretary of State that explains how long the county will take to get election results finalized. The county has to duplicate tens of thousands of ballots because of a printing error. The clerk is under fire for not acting sooner. It's been almost a week since Election Day. Several races have yet to be decided. K2's Genevieve Reaume is keeping a close eye on the situation for us.
And she's live again outside the county elections office in Oregon City. Genevieve, the clerk also said the real recounting process should start today.
Exactly, Deb. County Clerk Sherry Hall told us on Friday that two things would happen today. One, that she would give the Secretary of State's office an official timeline as to when we will have the results from this election. And two, that the actual duplication process, the counting of the votes, would begin today. So here's how we got here.
I knew there was a problem.
This all started May 3rd, 2 weeks from Election Day and the day Clackamas County started opening ballots. But during the process, County Clerk Sherry Hall revealed they discovered a massive problem.
The barcode blurriness really isn't something that the naked eye could see.
Ballots with blurry barcodes, and a lot of them. Hall told us then likely more than 100,000. The machines couldn't read the ballots, so Clackamas County would have to duplicate them. On May 5th, the Secretary of State's office addressed the error, directing Clackamas County to dedicate additional staff to the normal hand recount process. The Secretary of State's office also says it was around this time they, quote, inquired about the county's capacity to complete the work, and the county clerk Sherry Hall told us they had sufficient staff. Fast forward to election night, and it was clear Clackamas County was underprepared.
We will certify on June 13th for sure. We could be done earlier. I'm not really sure about that.
In a statement, Secretary of State Shemia Fagan said, quote, the county's reporting delays tonight are unacceptable. Voters have done their jobs, and now it's time for Clackamas County elections to do theirs. 3 days later, with still less than 30,000 votes in the county tallied,
Candidates, I know that's slow.
Secretary Fagan called Clerk Hall out for a lack of urgency in dealing with a problem she knew about 2 weeks in advance. Hall admitted her failure, providing no reason as to why she didn't act quicker.
I just didn't. I don't have any other reason but just to say that I didn't.
Now, this all leads us to today where, again, Clerk Hall was supposed to send her detailed timeline to the Secretary of State's office. I have asked repeatedly for a copy of that timeline, but I have not yet received it. We did just learn within the last half hour, though, that Secretary Fagan will be doing a news conference tomorrow afternoon to discuss all of this. We will for sure be a part of that. Live here in Oregon City, Genevieve Reaume, K2.